Hello and welcome. Welcome to Controller Building and Chill. The main event. We're gonna take it nice and slow today. Not gonna be in a rush to explain any of this stuff. Gonna hang out. It's a little bit structured, but I don't have it completely scripted, so it'll just be a fun time. Fun times to be had by all. What's Bob have to say this morning? Gonna highlight it? Yeah, I'm gonna put it on YouTube as well. Make a place for a little squirrel to live. Let's go. Alex Shive, welcome in. Welcome in. That's loud. On my end. Doesn't look like it's loud on the video. So that's good. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So today we are doing a basic build. Right, not a basic, a simplified build of a controller that produces great results. My best results so far, really. And that's to use an NES Classic controller on the little emulation box that came out a few years ago. Controllers that came with them were very close to the original bricks. So close, in fact, that the original circuit board will swap right into it. So you get those for about $30 right now on eBay, which is a shame. They used to be $10 in the store, but everybody's bought them up and sat on them, so they're really expensive now. So they're about $30 US on eBay. Let me go over to the workbench and talk about this. So I don't have chat over here right now because my phone's charging. But yeah, we're going to be building it based off the NES Classic controller. They come in this red box, or you can find them... Let me grab it. In this blue box here. I don't know if there's a difference, but I've been using the red boxes, so that's what we're going to use today. I don't think there's a difference. They both seem to be name brand controllers. So, the tools we're going to use today... Again, this is the most simplified build I can come up with. So we've got a limited amount of tools we're going to use today. I think I will go over circuit board repair as well a little later after we do this first build. So small Phillips screwdriver, sandpaper. This is 600 and 400. You can go higher if you want. 400's pretty rough on it, but if you've got a lot to sand on a D-pad, which we'll cover later, you might want to start with the 400. I usually just start and finish with the 600. Wouldn't hurt to finish with something a little finer though. Some ISO alcohol. The higher percent, the better. Paper towels. And of course the NES Classic controller. And an original NES Brick in good condition. Or with low miles, rather. So low miles. I'm going to bring this over to the desk so we can inspect this. I need to find a circuit board real quick with high miles on it to compare it to. Mr. Clean, welcome in. Thanks so much for that, host. Cowabunga. Okay, I've got a comparison here. Noise police. What am I going to do with all my NES Classic boards? I have no clue yet. Chimp, welcome in. There he's Fire Tiger as well. Mr. Clean's late for class. Oh, we just started, man. We just started. Made it into a bong. Alright, so this is a good condition board. Low mileage. What you want to look for is the contacts on the board. The carbon contacts. You want to make sure there's no chunks missing or tears or gashes or anything. This is really good. The main thing to look for, though, is this center circle right here. That's where the ball of the D-pad rests. So you've got this ball on the underside of the D-pad. This one's shaved off a little bit because I messed with it. But you get the idea. There's a ball on the underside of the D-pad. And that rests on that center circle. And over time, it'll wear a divot in that. So this is a circuit board that's got some wear on it. You can see the divot that's worn in the center there where the D-pad ball rests. The contacts on this look good though. This is a board that I would consider repairing, and we'll go over repair later, I think. But that's not part of this basic build. That's a circuit board with high mileage on it. Again, the divot. This is a circuit board with low mileage on it, no divot. So we're going to use this one to do the basic build, but I want to go over what to look for when you're at the store, or even online if they've got good pictures for a good OG NES Brick. Aries, enjoy your lurk. Thanks for chilling. Crit, welcome in. So what you're looking for when you're buying an NES Brick OG controller is you're looking for signs of heavy use. Now, one of the easiest ways to tell is the amount of dirt in the text here. Stormy, welcome. The dirt in the text here usually tells you how much wear is on it at a first glance. Now, if it's immaculately clean, then you know somebody's been in there and probably cleaned it. So another thing to look for is obvious dirt and junk caked in these areas here, the edges, the directional pads there and the little lines of the arrows. But one of the main things to tell, and this is usually the definitive answer, is how much I don't know what you'd call this, the faceplate, the overlay, whatever, how much wear that has on it. So when your fingers slide on this over time, it wears that matte finish off and it gets glossy and it's got like a greasy shine to it. This controller doesn't show much of it, so this one might be okay. You can tell a little bit around the A and B buttons there. It's got a little bit of that shine. This actually might be an okay controller. Grab another one and inspect it. I just grabbed 3 random controllers. So this one on the back, got a little bit of dirt caked in there. You can tell nobody's really scrubbed it or cleaned it. That's good. Okay, here's a good one to show off. This has got a lot of that shine on the overlay. This thing's seen what I had assumed to be a lot of use. It's pretty shiny all around there. That greasy look there. So that's the main thing to look for. But then if that's got a lot of wear on it, and the back is just immaculate, that means somebody probably cleaned it. The best thing to do is just to find one of these things that nobody's cleaned, nobody's opened, nobody's touched, and has low miles on it, but there's not a lot of them out there, but they do exist. So that's what to look for when you are buying an OG NES Brick. See what's next up on the list. We're going to go over to the workbench. So what I've learned while building these controllers is that there's 2 main ways that I can build an NES Brick. One way is to use all original parts, find rubbers in good condition, scrub and clean the whole thing, and build it that way. That requires a ton of work, but it's low cost, potentially, if you're picking good controllers. And also, oftentimes, they need their circuit boards repaired, which is an extra step. Lately I've found that if you build them with the NES Classic controller, you essentially, you're paying up front because it's a $30 piece right here, plus however much money it takes you to find a good original NES Brick and small cost in parts. So there's cost up front, but you're more likely to end up with a nice piece, and it's a brand new shell, brand new rubbers. So it should hold up for a while. So I prefer doing them that way. I believe they function better. but you can also get really good results out of doing stuff with all original parts. It's just a pain in the ass to find good parts. Alright, so we've covered what we're going to do. We've covered our parts, but we'll go over it again. Phillips screwdriver, sandpaper. Right here I've got 600 grit and 400 grit. We'll probably, if we have to use it at all, we'll probably only use the 400. Some high-test iso alcohol, paper towel, NES Classic controller, and an OG NES Brick in good condition. So, I haven't touched this controller as far as cleaned it, but I pulled it out of my my extremely good box, or my S tier box. But it's got no shine around the buttons. The back has very minimal dirt in it, but you can tell nobody's really cleaned it either. So this tells me there's low miles. I've already taken the screws out of this. Alright, so when you disassemble these, you just take the cord, kind of pull it up and out, and pay attention to how it's routed, and it'll pretty much be permanently bent that way anyways, so it's really easy to put back in. Just pay attention to how it kind of snakes through these posts. Now in the NES Classic controller, we'll route this cord up through here, but usually you take these apart and they're routed this way. Not a big deal. Take that out. Usually these will lift right out. If not, just set them on something and kind of pry up with even pressure to pop it out. So again, we have a very nice condition board to start with here. Alright, so all of these parts right here, although they are in great condition, we're not going to use them today. So we're going to put this back on, and we're going to throw this original NES controller back in the box. So, first off, what we're going to do is clean the circuit board. And again, I don't have chat over here yet, so I'll catch up in a minute if anybody's chatting. I appreciate y'all hanging out. So we would want to clean the circuit board. So we take our alcohol. It doesn't take a whole lot. So take our alcohol, and we're concerned mainly with cleaning the contacts, the black carbon contacts. Not a whole lot of pressure, but don't be afraid to push on it. Okay, and we're going to inspect for any chunks or gashes or scratches or anything in the carbon contacts. Everything looks great here. So here's an optional thing you can do. Oh, who's that? Oh, I meant to start splits. Oh no, that's not for any. Thanks for the bits, Stormy. Thanks for the reminder, Crit. Forgot to start splits. Splits are all messed up. Okay, so here's an extra step you can do. Let's use it's a fiberglass scratch pen, I think they call it. It's just got little fibers in there. And basically, you just run this over the contacts, and you don't have to be afraid to just run this over the whole board if you want to, but there's no real point. So just run this over the contacts, and it kind of scuffs them up a little bit, knocks that shine off of them. I have no science behind this, but I feel like it works. And you're really not going to damage them, you're just kind of knocking the shine off the top of the contacts, giving it a fresh layer. Again, this is optional. But seeing as these circuit boards are 30 years old, time has done some things to them. So we're just scratching off the top layer, I guess you could say. And again, you don't have to be afraid of going too far with this. It's not too abrasive. Alright, so now that we've got some fresh powder on there, we're going to clean it a couple more times until our paper towel comes out clean. Okay, now we look at our paper towel. You can see it's got some carbon on it. We'll flip to a clean spot in the paper towel and do some more. Okay, just a little bit of dust there. We'll do it one more time with a clean spot on the paper towel and we should be good. And you can also wipe down back here if you want to. Whatever makes you happy. So, again, we'll inspect for any chunks missing, any gashes in the contacts. Looks great to me. So there's that. We've got a clean circuit board from an original NES controller. We shouldn't need our alcohol anymore, so we'll put that to the side. Actually, that's a lie. We'll use that after we're almost done. We're done disassembling the original NES controller. We'll set that to the side for now. Again, I don't have chat over here this morning. My phone is usually what I use for chat over here, and it's dead and charging. But thank you very much for being here while we do this. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. Okay, now the NES Classic controller box. It's glued on the top here. So I like to open them from the bottom, that way I can keep it intact and mail the controller out in this box if somebody buys a controller from me, which the purpose of this video is to have everybody know how to do this themselves. Because I'm kind of tired of building controllers, so I'd like to spread this knowledge so that everybody can do this themselves, or maybe somebody else can go into business. That'd be cool. So this box, just open it carefully, pay attention to how it closes, so you can seal it back up later if you want. Alright, so the NES Classic controller. There's our box intact, good to go. We'll set that to the side. comes in this nice little wrapper. And you've got a brand new controller right here. Brand new buttons, brand new rubbers, brand new shell. We're going to set this to the side as well. So our goal is to get this circuit board into this controller. Sometimes you'll get lucky, everything works out well, and you don't have to tweak a single thing. So we'll see what we get here. Sometimes they don't work out at all, and which we'll cover in the circuit board repair segment a little later. Or we'll cover it right now if this one doesn't work out, but we'll see. So we've got 6 screws. You want to just take out all your screws. Okay, so we've got our screws off. We'll take the back plate off. I'm going to dump the screws out here. Set them to the side. So here, we've got the NES Classic controller circuit board. You can see it's a smaller cable, and it's snaked through up here as opposed to down here. I believe what this does is it gets any potential pressure off of the cord being tightened down to the backside of the D-pad. So you want to get that out of the way when we put the other one in. So we're just going to take this off the posts. And when you pull this up, there's a good chance that the rubbers are going to stick to the board, because this is a new piece. So you just want to put them back where they were. And you can see the differences in the boards. And we're going to throw this board to the side. So, now we've got the NES Classic buttons, rubbers, brand new, all good to go. So we'll put them back where they go. Oh, another thing to note, sorry, another neat thing is that this rubber in the NES Classic controller has this little bump on it here, and the underside post of the D-pad is made so that it sits in there. And what that does is that returns your D-pad to center when you let your thumb off of it, which the original is not designed to do, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so we're going to put everything back together there. And it's a little tighter fit usually for these, but they should drop in just fine. Drop in your circuit board. Make sure that it's sitting flat, nothing got tweaked up with your buttons or anything. The rubbers didn't shift out of place. This one feels good. So again, it's pretty easy to tell how this goes. You can just snake it in there. The hard part with these is getting this cable to rest while also putting it in between these two posts up here. You kind of have to smush it in there and try to get it to stay when you take your hand off. It looks good now. Then we're going to put our back plate on, just straight on. Then we're going to hold it together while we put a screw or two in. We're not going to tighten these down all the way, we're just making sure it stays where it needs to be. So put your screws in. Okay, now I did a test run of this process yesterday, and it was the first time that I ran into an issue with this setup, in where, even though it was a good condition circuit board we were working with, it still allowed illegal inputs from the D-pad. And if we run into that, I will explain what we need to do, although this was not covered in the parts list. You may have to order some more parts, or tools rather. Okay, we're gonna tighten these down. Don't crank them like crazy, but get them to where they're tight. Again, don't crank them like crazy. So not tight, but they're moderately snug right now. Okay, everything's moderately snug. I'm going to back out every screw about 1/8 of a turn. Just so this thing's not just clamped down like crazy. Okay, about 1/8 of a turn. Now this screw right here, in the top left corner of the controller, you can see that this gap in the controller the whole way around with those screws tightened is pretty much the same gap, but then when you get to that one, it's clamped down a little more, so I like to back that one out until this gap is even with the rest of the controller. And it doesn't take much. So everything's good to go on my end here. As far as this controller is concerned, now we need to test it. Sorry, the physical build we're done with. We're going to test it, see how it tests, and do what we need to do accordingly to get it working properly. So we've got a brand new controller for the most part. Feels good. Let's go over to the desk. Welcome in, everybody. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with these splits. They're just for fun. Just for fun. Ignoring chat. No, I don't have my phone over there. My phone's charging. We're planning, I know. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. This is always fun to do these things. Let me scroll through chat and see what I missed. We'll take a little break here. Clockwise rubs, you know it. Don't spill alcohol on your wife's dining room table. Pro tip. I feel like there's a story behind that. Few sips for the repair person is not advisable. No, don't drink that shit. Yeah, Mr. Clean, about knocking the sheen off the carbon contacts. I don't know for a fact that works. Like I said, I've got no science behind it, but it makes sense in my head, so I do it. Whoever goes into business is going to have to buy the remaining cache of classic controllers from Skunky. It's a pyramid scheme. Might be. I do have a cache, I'm not gonna lie. Evil Elf, welcome in. Zen, what's up, man? Yeah, we're missing splits. About to drill holes in the middle of all your... No, don't do that. Not what you need to do. Don't like a tight brick in your hand? It's gotta have a little play in it. 40 watt redeem reset game. Alright. Yeah, I messed around with the rewards last night. I had some that I made but never activated, and then I changed the rules on some of them. You feel like you get better response if you do the scuffing? Yeah. I mean, it makes sense in my head. In your head, I guess, too. We'll go with it. It works. Kustrin, welcome in. Fabricator General, welcome in. The NES cord is thicker than the classic cord, which makes the shell hard to close. In your experience, you don't shave anything off the classic shell. Just to adjust the screw tightness, yes. I don't modify anything on the shell. Again, the way we've routed the cord, I think, is important. Because if you route the cord, I'm sitting here touching the controller like the camera can see it. So the cord behind here, it kind of snakes up through here. If you notice in the NES Classic controller, when you take it apart, it'll have it snake through or in between two posts up here that the OG controllers, they didn't route that way. They routed under and around. So I try and make sure I route that the same way in the NES Classic controller, and it works pretty well. One day you're going to regret that 100K? I don't know. We'll find out. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it, but it's there. KK cruising. Do. Alright, we're gonna test this thing out. Alright, so this is the NES controller test ROM. Muxosaur is correct. Yep, you can do it during a world record run.
Oh no! What are you guys doing here? How did you get here? Did anyone see you come in?
Nosferatu and Raiders, welcome in. Welcome in. Happy Saturday to you as well, Muxosaur. At the end of this run. Alright, so here's the controller test ROM. You can just kind of search the internet for that, you'll find it. Something's up. controller's straight up not working. Nosferatu, welcome in. Thanks so much for the raid. How'd your stream go? So this controller's straight up not working. This is unfortunate because this is one of the best looking cables, best looking circuit boards I've ever seen, and this straight up doesn't work. It was so good looking that I never tested it. Lesson to be had. So we will reflow the solder on the chip. I gotta get into the soldering. I haven't done that yet. I've done little bits and pieces. Nothing for real. So again, we'll just start that process over. So we gotta go up some splits here. Noise police redeemed. Speak to the manager. See if the dog will come. Here, girl, come here. Oh there. Oh there. There's the dog. I need to speak to Karen about this controller. Karen, come here. Come here. Hello. Hello, BB girl. Okay, the first speak to the manager redemption was a success. So what we're going to do now is go back to the workbench and put a different circuit board in this thing. So we'll see you over there. Oh, nice, Nosferatu. Saw you did some Z2. Some Z2. This makes me really sad that this circuit board's not working, but we'll throw that in the pile to be repaired someday. And we'll pick another circuit board out. That's so crazy. Like, I threw that controller in a pile and just said, this is an awesome controller. Never tested it. But these are the issues you run into when you're doing the controllers, so that's good we came across that. You always seem to hit some kind of speed bump somewhere with something. Okay. And we'll take our screws out. Set them to the side. Let's inspect this circuit board. Okay, it looks like this might be able to use a little benefit from some reflow. 40's right. We'll try that someday. But for now, we grab a new board. No gashes in the carbon contacts. Everything looks good. Let's go ahead and clean it. Then we'll scuff it and clean it some more. Get our alcohol on a paper towel. Dry off real quick. And then we take a fiberglass pen and just scuff the contacts. Again, this part not absolutely necessary, but seems to produce some kind of good results. Getting a fresh layer exposed on the carbon contacts. Knock that shine off of there. And again, don't be afraid to dig into this. This is not going to hurt them. You'd probably have to sit there and do this all day for it to wear through completely. Okay, take our alcohol over it again. Now that we've created some carbon dust, we need to clean that all up, make sure it's all off the board there. So you can see that's pretty black there. So we need to flip to a clean part of the paper towel. Okay, that came back clean, so we're done with that. So what I'm going to do now is plug this in and test it before I assemble this thing. Just make sure it's getting some input, so I'm just going to grab a random rubber. Happy little accident. Yep, we're testing it. We're testing it. Yeah. Yeah, 40's words are good in here. 40 and I collaborate a lot on these ideas to make these controllers. He's focused mainly on the Super Nintendo controllers while I'm doing the NES bricks, but a lot of the ideas are the same, so we talk a lot about this stuff. So whatever he says in chat, you can pretty much take that to the bank. Alright. I'd say this one works. Time to share your conspiracies. Alright, so this circuit board works. Let's go back to the bench and put it together. Actually, no, we'll just bring it over here. We'll just bring it over here. Oh, wow, okay. Thanks for the clarification there. Never really thought about that. So ghost aliens are the ghosts of aliens that died here, like the Roswell. Okay, that makes sense. Alien ghosts are ghosts from other planets, died elsewhere and then came here. Oh, okay. Now we're learning. Alright, so let's put this controller together. Again, A and the B buttons. This pad, different from the original NES pad. Let's put our known working circuit board in here. Again, this circuit board very low miles as well, no divot in the center there. Okay, so again, we're going to route this cord up through these two posts here, which can be challenging. To get it to stay there while you put the shell, the back piece of the shell on. Try and get that to stay in place. Sometimes you gotta really work it in there. Maybe I should hot glue that. Think hot glue would work there? I think that's it. Nope, it slipped out. I got it. Okay. So, when we put our screws in, again, don't tighten them down like crazy at first. Just get them in there to hold it together. I kind of do hope we run into some more problems here because, again, this is not always just a cut and dry process. I've done controllers like this in Not factoring in testing time, I've done controllers like this in 15-20 minutes. And then I do usually another half hour or so of testing. And other times I've spent 3 hours with a controller before I tossed it in a box that labeled cursed. They just never work out for whatever reason. Where did I find these hot or fresh jams? These fresh jams are Game Chops live channel on YouTube. Study Lounge, Video Game Study Lounge, I think it's called. Okay, so we want to screw these all in now that they're all kind of in there. We want to screw them all in until they're snug. You don't have to crank them down, but make them snug. Okay, then we're going to back every screw out, about 1/8 of a turn, except for this one up here, the top left screw. For some reason that clamps it down way more than the others, and we'll adjust that visually. Again, the screws are snug, we're going to back them out just about 1/16 to 1/8 of a turn actually. Not very much, just to take a little bit of the pressure off of them. Okay, now this one here, again, as I explained earlier, this one clamps this gap down a lot more. You can see this gap is relatively even the whole way around the controller, with the exception of this corner up here. So we're going to just loosen that up until that gap is even with the rest of the controller. Alright, that seems good. Alright, let's test this thing out. Sand down some of the shell to cure the curse. Wow. That's getting deep. Any snail, welcome in. Alright, so let's test this one out. So what we're testing for is responsiveness of each direction first. For each button, rather. Okay, so this feels good to me so far, but the biggest thing with these controllers is that if you press down hard enough on the D-pad, you don't want it to give you illegal inputs, being left and right at the same time or up and down at the same time. Okay, so I'm pressing down pretty hard. Okay, I've got to press down really hard to get that. So me pressing down really hard to get that is good, that's fine. That's not going to happen in normal play. Like, I'm jamming on this thing right now and it's not doing it. So that's not going to happen in normal play. So this thing ended up probably exactly where we want it. We've got to test it first though, with some gameplay. Always do gameplay testing on a game I'm very familiar with, preferably one that uses all of the controller, which for me is Turtles 1, and then I test a beat 'em up after that where you're heavy on the D-pad and need to roll around from all different diagonals to all different diagonals and cardinals and things to make sure it doesn't skip a beat there. So another thing I like to test is how sensitive it is if you hold a cardinal and rock to a diagonal. So feels just about perfect to me. Make sure you can nail your diagonals every time you press them if you need to. This thing feels really good. Nis, welcome in. Is there anything cool you can do in TMNT 1 with illegal inputs? Yes, it does some pretty wacky stuff actually. There's something called the floating weapon glitch, where if you activate it with Dawn, or it only works with Dawn I think, and it puts like 4 katanas on the screen in random spots, and you can attack enemies across the screen. The TAS uses it heavily. With Raph, I believe, you can do the same glitch, but it acts different with every turtle. And Raph can pick up items above his head. They use that in the missile house to grab the missiles from underneath without even jumping up there. It's pretty wild. So this thing is testing great. Yeah, see, I can't even get it to do that now. So what'll happen over time is that D-pad will wear a divot in the circuit board. And the reason I like to back out the screws on here is because if that ever gets to where it is giving you illegal inputs, the left and right are up and down at the same time during normal gameplay. I mean, I'm smashing on this thing right now to get it. But if it ever happens during normal gameplay, the circuit board probably got worn down and got that divot in it. And to save it, you can usually tighten up the screws a little bit, and it'll help out with that. It'll give it some more life. So this thing is great right now. I think we should test it. By playing some games, so we'll go ahead and say we're done with that. Oops. Testing 1 is done. Tweaking, we can skip that because we don't need to tweak this thing. And testing 2 is playing games. Now this will be NIS's controller. So I put up a bounty for TMNT 1. I'm giving away 4 controllers. 2 have already been claimed. 2 have yet to be claimed. So 3 controllers went to any existing runner that can get a sub 18. Evil Elf claimed the first sub 18 controller. I put up an additional controller for any new runner of TMNT who gets a sub 1930. And NIS picked that up real quick and grabbed it, so congrats to them. And they've won a controller. This controller. So Evil Elf already got his. And there's 2 more yet to be claimed. There are some extra rules to that, I guess, because anybody who already has a sub 18 can win the controller by getting a 1725, and Kung Fu's mic is really close to that. There's 2 more controllers yet to be won for the TMNT bounty. Alright, so we're gonna test this out playing games starting with TMNT 1. TMNT 1. Because I know that game really well, and it uses the full controller. Uses all the diagonals. Start, select, everything. That's what I love about the game. And it's also good for controller testing. Forgot I had it plugged in player 2 slot. Okay, it nudges over really nicely. And again, I'm not looking for the perfect run, I'm just looking to make sure that the controller, even if I make a mistake, I'm looking in for the controller to do what I want it to do, what I expect it to do. Gondola is good. Damn good so far. Did they just now realize that, Noise Police? Too late. Too early. Or too late again. Sloppy, but the controller did what I wanted it to do. The only mistakes made there were mistakes in my brain or with timing. Ooh, almost made it up. Bum bum bum. What section is that, NES? The Rocksteady's basement? It screws up the mash, mash, mash. So it just so happened that mash, mash, mash gives you decent RNG? I mean, whoops. Thinking about the mashing. Yeah, Rocksteady's basement, that's probably the hardest, one of the hardest rooms to do in the game, not the hardest. Hung back there because we're low on health. Good. Screws up the mash, mash, mash. That's rough. The game has changed now. Oh, crit, that's a success. But then again, did you not stock TP readily available in the bathroom within reach because you were busy raising kids? But no, I agree. Having children is rewarding. That clip has been getting me lately. Blame Kung Fu's mic still. So yeah, I have zero complaints about this controller. It's nice. I'm gonna finish the game out, but I'm confident in it already. I can't believe I made it. Great Mecha Turtle fight. Aries, thanks for the bits. Appreciate you, man. Oh man, I had this set up for quick rope skip and I tried it, but I messed it up. A lot of frame perfect stuff there. Oh, thank you, Crit. I appreciate those bits. Don't get me wrong. This is not for you. This is for me. The goal of this is to, when people ask about controllers, I can just link them to a video and not have to talk about it and share my expertise. Completely selfish reasons here. No, for real though, the goal was always to figure out what's going on with these controllers. Oops. And to figure out a simplified process that pretty much anybody can do. And I think I've got it to that point, so I did want to share that. And we'll go over board repair here in a little bit. What do you mean, Nosferatu? Can you elaborate on that? Okay, I gotcha. Not that way, don't go left. Too early on the pause? Oh, I was messing around with my green screen effects, talking to 40 Watt about different things you can do. So I made myself Don, so when I stand up. Don over Shredder, I like that. The pauses, the eye opening cycle stays active when you pause. So I paused because he was backing up, and I wanted his eye to be open 2 more times while he was still on screen. If I didn't pause there, oops, then he would have backed off the screen for a lot of his eye being open. So I wanted to keep him on screen, and it worked out really well. I got those extra 2 hits in. Oops. Thumbs please. Thumbs please. Oops. I deactivated the sub-weapon before it hit him. Scrolls do more damage there. Yes. They do. Type in !damage. And it should take you to a link with the damage values of different things. I think that's the right one. Is that the Turtles? Turtles 1? Scroll down about halfway through that page. You'll see a little chart with different damage values on it. Yes, that's the right link. So in cases like the Technodrome fight and the Mauser fight, if you land all your hits, there will be a difference. Boomerang party! Never seen that Shredder fight? Yeah, that's when we're playing around a little bit. Or you mean you've never seen it before at all? Oh, and oh, wow. Yeah, in the speedrun it goes really quick. It's only like a 10-second fight. I don't think anybody did, Guile. I don't think anybody did. Not even me. Rage quit the damn. Alright, so Turtles 1 was good. I forgot I was using a brand new controller. So that's what you want. You just want to forget about the controller completely. Just want it to do, if it's doing its job, then you just forget about the controller at all. Did you miss the controller build? Yes, but I think we're going to do some more and cover some other things. And I will be uploading this to YouTube for people to look at. I mean, it's not structured very well, and it's not consolidated and condensed, but hey, if you want to learn about controllers, then you can sit for an hour and a half and watch this video. McCall, welcome in. Yeah, it would be cool if they included Krang. Fighting the entire Technodrome as a boss makes up for it. I agree. That's a good point. So now I'm going to test a beat 'em up where I need to be heavy.
What are you guys doing here? How did you get here? Did anyone see you come in?
Heavy on the D-pad. Confused Mike. Welcome in. We were just talking shit about you. Not really. I just had some trouble with the clip in the missile house and blamed watching you. Congrats on your recent PB. How did your streams go today? Hope pleasant shit. Yeah, all in good fun. All in good fun. Okay, so here we're just testing the D-pad, that it rotates to everywhere we need to go without skipping a beat. If you've got a D-pad that's not sensitive enough, then you'll drop inputs when rolling the controller around, or rolling the D-pad around. And this thing is great. No issues at all. Big old kick to the face. Dom, welcome in. Dom wants to speak to the manager. Okay, so that controller's good. That's done. We can do our final split. Boom. Alright, so including testing and our little mishap, and we forgot to start splits at the beginning, so I'm going to say that's what, let's estimate high, about an hour and a half for doing that build and testing. So that's good. That's good. Bring the music back. We're going to call for the manager. Dom wants to speak to the manager. Karen, come here. Come here, girl. Hello. The manager came. Hello, Karen, girl. Hello, Karen. No, her name is Karen. Come here. Come here. Come here, girl. Karen, here. Hello. She was sleeping. She's confused. Good girl. Girl, okay, go back to bed. Okay, so that concludes all the testing for the build that I intended to do. We can now go over circuit board repair, which includes some tools, or involves some tools that I did not excuse me, list initially, and it is a royal pain in the butt, but we're gonna try one. So NES, that's your controller, has been built and tested, working extremely well, good to go. Get this all packed up and sent your way. Send me a whisper on, send me a, if you're on Twitter, send me a message on Twitter or on here or on Discord. Find me somewhere, send me your address. We'll get this thing shipped off to you. Congrats again for claiming the new runner, the MNT1 bounty. Picked that game up really quick. It was cool to see. I also do want to go over, I forgot, cord conditioning. That's what the Vaseline is for. Cord conditioning. A lot of times you get a cord that's just chalky looking and nasty. This cord is really good, so we don't even need to do it with this. Maybe we'll do it on a different cord, because this cord's really good. This is a really, really healthy cord. We're not going to do it with this one. We'll do it on another one. We want to learn the stupid clip at the end. That's probably the last thing you ever want to incorporate into a run, ever. That's like the final trick. Do everything else first, do that last. That clip is a pain. That's a big old run killer. Alright, so there's NES's controller. Let's set that aside for now. Okay, so I mentioned before that a circuit board with a good bit of wear on it is going to have this divot in the center here. And what that does is that allows the D-pad to sit lower on the circuit board and closer to the contacts, and may let you do illegal inputs. So we want to repair that, or just say if you want to repair that, here's what you do. You clean it up nice. Actually, we'll go ahead and do the same thing to this one, because we're going to do a full build off of this one too. We're going to do the same thing to this one we did with the other one. We're going to clean it nice and good. And then we're going to use the fiberglass scratch pen on the contacts. Okay, and then we're going to clean it up some more. Okay, so that's good to go there. So now we've got a clean board. So now we're going to drill a hole in the center of this. The center is usually where the dot is, so it's pretty easy to line up the drill. I like to hang this off the edge of the workbench so we're not smashing the cables here. And just get a drill with a small drill bit. Get that as close to center as you can. That looks great to me, so we're going to go ahead and continue with that hole. Drill all the way through. Alright, it's important to make sure the drill didn't make a rough edge here. If it does, then you can just be really careful, but take a little bit of sandpaper and sand that down. This particular time, it did not do that. So you just want to knock the edge off if there is one. Make sure there's no edge on the back, so we're good there. So we're going to take a piece of tape. Just use electrical tape. Tape the back flat. Now, we're going to use some UV reactive epoxy, or plastic weld, whatever you want to call it. So basically we just put a little squirt in this hole. Try not to have it so that it makes a big bump on top, but we're basically trying to fill in the divot without making too much on top of the circuit board or poking out of the circuit board. A little bit is okay, but not much at all. We lay this flat. Okay, got our epoxy in there. Then we're going to turn it on its side and look at it to make sure that bump doesn't stick up too much. If it sticks up too much, then I'm just going to scrape some off. That looks great to me. Barely a bump there. Now you turn on your UV light and cure it. This stuff cures really quick. So just hold it on there for a few seconds, real close. We can take our tape off and hit it from the back. Alright, so now we're good there. So what that does is it flattens that out. And if we have a little bump there, that's okay, because we can always sand the ball and the D-pad down a little bit to get it where we need to be functionally. So that's how you repair a board with a divot. See you, Gotch. Welcome in. El Rock, welcome in. Nis, I do not know the answer to that question. I have not gone into the soldering and things like that. 40 Watt may be able to answer that question if he's still around. Got some Streets of Rage music here. Which one is this? Streets of Rage 2 or 1? I think it's 1. Okay, so we've repaired the circuit board, but we've also created a convex bump. It's tiny, but it's there, and every little bit matters with these controllers. So what we're going to do, I'm going to do an original controller build out of all this, or out of this one right here. So we're going to use an original shell. Let me get a good shell here. I've got these all clean and ready. Again, I mean, functionally speaking, the shell molds can be slightly different, but for the most part, they're all similar or the same. But if you want a good one, you're looking for the shine in this matte overlay. So this is cool. Like, every controller tells a story. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but there's a shine that goes up here. So they must have been pressing the button and sliding up. But they also didn't play a game that used B very much for sliding, or they didn't slide their thumb on B because it's not around the B at all. So it's pretty neat. That one's pretty good. This one's really good. I like this one. Okay, so we're going to go with this shell. Let's pick out some colored buttons. Now the colored D-pads unfortunately don't work very well for me at all, so I usually don't use those. I can get them to work, but they take some massaging to get them right. Usually they sit too low naturally, so it'll give you illegal inputs. So I'd sand the top of the ball flat, then drill a hole down in it, use that epoxy in it, and kind of make this ball a little bigger. It gets pretty crazy, but anyways, I haven't found third-party D-pads that work well at all. Although they look cool, and I can get them to work, it takes a lot of time to get them where they need to be. It's just not worth it in my opinion. Okay, so we're gonna go with orange and pinkish red. And we're gonna use a standard D-pad. The good thing about building them using the classic controllers, you know you get the same D-pads, you know you get the same, or the rubbers. You know everything's good. It doesn't have an age to it or any wear, so you know you got a good baseline with almost all of your parts. So it's just a really simple, great build. But when you do it with an OG base, it gets a little crazy. So we'll get into that. With the rubbers, all the rubbers are different wear levels. You can tell they're different colors. The colors on these two is pretty different. Different levels of responsiveness or poppiness. You kind of just want to set them down somewhere. and press on them and get a feel for if they're going to be poppy or sloppy, which both can function just right, or just fine. Just depends on what you want in a controller. So what you also need to do when getting these OG rubbers is you need to kind of be a little forceful with them and make sure there's no tears or cracks. Like that, see? Done. That would have held up for maybe a couple weeks, and we don't want to put that in the controller. And that's the problem we're getting into when you do the OG controllers, because the parts are just old. They're old and frail. I mean, that took very minimal force for me to rip that button out. Now these I'm being forceful with, but that one was just too easy. And that's why I've recently gone to the NES Classics for the base of the build, because you don't run into this. You don't have to worry about it. And this is a lot of time wasted. Not wasted, but a lot of time spent cleaning each individual rubber. I boil them, I give them an ice bath, I dry them, I run the fiberglass pen over the contacts to freshen them up, clean them again, and then you know, most of them are like this. They just break easy. So that's why we use the NES Classic build as the base now. This one seems good. Oh, there's a rip in that one. That one's junk. And these all came out of what looked like great controllers. This pile of rubbers here. Now this rubber's in good... Nope, see? There you go. Lesson learned. We're not even gonna build the OG shit anymore. It's a nightmare. This one seems good. But then again, I don't like the way those two feel. This one feels really healthy. We're gonna use this for now. And the start and select button, they're usually pretty good. They don't get a whole lot of use compared to the others. I like that one. So we're going to use those for now. So we've got our rubbers picked out, we've got our shell picked out, we've got our board. Now we have our D-pad picked out. And here's our buttons. The thing about the aftermarket buttons, or any buttons really, is a lot of them are different. So we're going to measure some things on them, pick out which ones we want. For this controller, I want one of each of these colors. We're going to pick out our the ones we want that measure the best, and then we're going to use those. Is the NES Classic a hard plastic for what? Which part are you talking about? Yeah, it's hard plastic for the D-pad. It's extremely similar to the original NES controllers, but the design's a little different on the Classic. This is the original. It's got just the straight thick ball on the bottom, and it rests in here, and this is just a flat hole right here, so it just rests directly on the circuit board, and there's not much around it. The NES Classic controller has a thinner ball, but it's designed to work with the NES Classic pad because the pad has a little rubber piece in the middle that comes up, and the ball sits inside of that, and it supports it left to right, up and down as well, so it always returns the D-pad to center. These originals do not do that by design. Ant Foolish, you're in luck then, because there's a channel points reward for that. But it's a gamble. If I call her and she doesn't come, then no Karen. Yes, in my opinion, the NES Classic controller is an improvement in design. Karen girl, come here. Karen, here. Karen's busy running some errands. Here she is. Hello, pretty girl. Hello. Hello. She was snoozing. You've been snoozing all morning. I've woken her up 3 times for this now. Yeah, she's content. She's downstairs with the family, chilling out on the furniture. Come here. Hello there. Can she do any commands? Yes, she knows a lot of commands. But I never really issue them to her just because. Where's your face, Karen? There's your face. She can sit, stay, come, lay down, get back. She can jump up on things. She knows when we say go lay in your bed, she goes and lays in her bed. And jump up for treats. All kind of stuff. Really smart dog. Really stubborn dog, though. This dog has taken a ton of work. It's a constant thing. But she's coming around. Really happy with her. She's very entertaining, too. She's got plenty of energy, usually. Keeps me on my toes. Yeah, I believe she's some kind of mutt. Everybody always asks what she is, but I have no clue. I think she's some kind of pit bull mixed with something else. She seems to have a good bit of terrier in her. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so we've reconditioned the board. We've drilled the hole. We've repaired the divot. Oh, we were on buttons. So what we want to do is measure our buttons. I measure the center post. Depth is the main thing. I'll set this down. Okay, so 1.95. 1.95. This is 2.15, so that's a big difference. This is 2.12, about the same for these two. .9, so these must have came from different molds. So as much as I wanted to build a controller with one of each of these colors, I'm not going to. I'm going to just use the reds, the pinks, whatever they are. The difference is just too much. So what you want to do with these aftermarket buttons is clean any flash, I believe is what it's referred to, off of the buttons. These are actually really clean, so I don't need to on that one. Don't need to on that one, but what you can do if there is any flash, then you just sand a little bit off so there's no jagged edges or anything, but these are really good, so they're fine. Alright, so what we want to do now is assemble the controller. I'll put some screws here. Gotta find some screws with good heads. That one's questionable. That one's questionable. Questionable. That's good. It's in the middle. That one's good. This one's good. Middle. No. That one's good. Two more. Okay, so now I've got 6 good screws. Alright, so we'll go ahead and assemble this. D-pad. D-pad rubber. A and B, we've measured them to about the same size, so it doesn't matter which position we put these in. A and B rubber. Start and select rubber. Circuit board. Cord. I'm going to tuck the cord up there. Back plate. Now, since we repaired the circuit board and raised that divot up, it is now concave or convex, We're going to just loosely assemble the screws around the D-pad. We're going to test it out. Probably find that the D-pad's not sensitive enough, so we're going to need to shave some off of the D-pad ball to get it to where it needs to be functionally, but we'll go test that out now. Is there a large community of NES controller refurbishers? Not that I'm aware of, no. Pretty much all of my knowledge has come from messing around with stuff myself and talking to a very limited number of people, the main one being 40 watt range. Okay, so we're going to snug the screws around the D-pad. D-pad screws are snug. And then we're going to go ahead and test this out. Okay, so this functions fine as far as the A, the B, the start, and the select. Left, right, up, down. Cardinals are good. And the diagonals work. But I think that the extended test is going to show that the diagonals are not as sensitive as they need to be. So if we hold, say, left and rock up and down, how hard is it to get the the diagonal inputs? I'm putting a lot of pressure on it to do that. But I can already tell this is not where I want it to be. So we're going to take this apart. We're going to sand the ball of the D-pad down in a very particular fashion where it stays circular, or like a half sphere-ish. And we're trying to take a little bit of total height off of that ball. Which will allow it to sit closer to the circuit board and hopefully function better. Yes, just use sandpaper for that. I'm going to start with 400 on this one. And I take my thumbs and grab the top and bottom. And I keep it at this, in this position. Well, let me try and figure out how to explain this. Never really thought about how to put it into words. So I grab the top and the bottom. Start with it angled one way. And then sand in circular motions as I'm rotating the D-pad around to put different pressure on the different spots. So I'll do one trip around, then I'll rotate it a quarter turn, one trip around, rotate it a quarter, one trip around, rotate it a quarter, one trip around. So it's gone one trip around, at each of the 4 positions I can comfortably hold this thing in. Rotate. 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 Good, so that was 4 times. Knock off the dust, wipe it off. So, and if you do it right, you can tell that you got it really, really even. It's really cool. We've knocked a little bit off. I don't think we've knocked enough off, so I'm going to go another trip around. But you don't want to go too far. You go too far and you're kind of screwed. Couldn't remember if I did 4 or 5, so I went light on that last one. Okay, so that looks like it's knocked off some. Let's put that in the controller and test it out now. So you can't really see it on here, but we've knocked some of that ball off. And you can kind of see why already that I prefer using the NES Classic as a base. Because it just takes a lot of this process out of the mix. I'm not even going to put my screws in this time, I'm just going to hold it together tightly as I can. And fun fact, controllers will not work unless you have the rubber in. Okay, so the big test is to press hard in the center and rotate around to make sure it can't give you illegal inputs. So this one's good. And I'm still not getting the sensitivity I want. It's closer, but it's not there. So we're going to go back to the workbench and do probably just about the same thing we did on that last round. Just about the same amount of sanding. Okay, we'll throw it back in, see what we get. J. Willie, oh, we rubbing it down, baby. Gotta treat him good. Am I selling these controllers? What? Just the ones I'm making today in particular? The one we made before was a giveaway for a bounty I made in TMNT 1. The NES 1 for being a new runner. First new runner since the bounty was announced to get a sub 1930 in TMNT 1. The NES one, that one. This one right here, I have a person in mind to get this controller. I'm still trying to knock out the waiting list, so some of these controllers are going to be the ones on the waiting list. And moving forward in the future, I don't think I want to sell controllers much anymore. I just want to teach people how to do it. They can do it themselves. I'm going to build for myself every now and then, but I'm a little burnt out on it, to be honest. So I might just build one every now and then, but we'll see. I definitely don't want to have a waiting list anymore. It's stressful. I'm still not through it yet. I think I've got about 8 more to build. Yeah, that's right, Amphilus, you won one. Jay, Willie, no. No. That's why I'm doing this video, so you can do it your damn self. No, yeah, I might come back to it. I don't know. We'll see how I feel in the future. I can't really predict it. I like doing it when I'm in the mood to do it, and I only do it when I'm in the mood to do it, and that has not been very frequently at all lately. Because I don't want to turn it into a job, I just want to do it when I feel like doing it, you know? Wish I was Blank, thank you so much, welcome in. Yeah, I'm glad to show the... but Dad! Glad to show the process. Like, the goal is to have people know how to do this themselves. Now that I've got a pretty simplified process down, we're going over the non-simple process right now, doing it with the old controller parts. Okay, so that we got bad controller there, that means that it'll allow left and right at the same time, but I am cranking on this thing. So this is probably in a good sweet spot to work right. Let's test our rocking to diagonals. And I'm going to actually sand just a little bit more, because when you tighten these with screws, they get less sensitive. So we want to make it a little more sensitive by sanding the D-pad a little more, and then we'll put it together with screws and test it out. Yeah, they are limited edition, Aunt Foolish, they are. So I'm gonna do one more light trip around. No, you know what? I'm not gonna take a chance on going too far. I'm gonna take a trip around with the 600. And I'm going to finish it off with another round of 600 that's been well used, just to kind of polish it off. Okay, again wiping off the dust. Don't want any of that dust getting in the controller. Okay, now from my view, that looks really amazing. We'll test it out. And Foolish, I have not got very deep into any other controllers yet, as far as getting them fine-tuned to this degree. But I think other controllers, a lot of other controllers don't give you much room to tweak this D-pad, which is usually a good thing. It means it was manufactured better. It was just a better design. But there's a lot of playroom with the NES controllers. There's a lot of variants. Did I say SNES? I meant NES. Probably not as necessary. I think that might be right, but I'm not sure. Again, we're gonna put our back plate on. Test TMNT2 real quick. Make sure we're getting good rotation on the D-pad. Okay, we're rotating clockwise, counterclockwise. All over the place, and we're not getting any, it's not skipping a beat. It's got really good rotation. I'm gonna go ahead and put some screws in this and see if that rotation stays. If not, we may need to take a little bit more off the D-pad. So the upsides to the controller building using the NES Classic controller as a base, it's a lot more simple, it's usually a lot quicker, and you get a brand new controller. The downsides to that is that it's more expensive because you have to buy a $30 NES Classic controller. And hope that it works. Some of them have not worked. I've had 2 that did not work well for me. But I've done about 10 of them that did work. So you got good odds. Okay, so these screws are cranked down. We're going to go back to the controller tests. Ooh, Tiagach. Oh my. Oh my. I'm going to back these out about quarter turn. Because if we can get it dialed in at having these a quarter turn out, that means whoever gets this controller will be able to tweak the sensitivity of the D-pad by tightening or loosening the screws. This feels alright to me. We'll test it. We'll use it. I'm predicting that I'm going to find that it needs a little more shaved off of the ball, but I want to test it first because if it doesn't need any more shaved off the ball, then don't shave the balls. Because if you shave off too much, it'll allow you to get illegal inputs, and then it's really hard to fix it from there. It is possible, but it's a pain in the ass. Okay, let's play a game. I'm gonna do TMNT 2 to start to test the D-pad. Then we'll do TMNT 1. Test time, test time. Get your test time. Hey, it's not missing a beat. Creeping Death, welcome in. Oh, glad to hear it. Very glad to hear it. Controller feels pretty good. Again, I might want to sand a little more off the ball. I'll go a little bit more. A little bit more. It really takes the sensitivity out of it when you have the screws tightened. $13 till Ninja Gaiden tourney. You gonna watch? Yes. In fact, I am. because I forgot about it until you reminded me. What channel is it on? Yeah, we're almost finished up here. Okay, so we're gonna knock a little bit more off of this. I'm gonna go with the clean 600, and then we'll polish it up with the used 600. Okay, polish it up with the well-used 600. And the key is to sand these at an angle. Don't sand them flat. Again, wipe your dust off. And we'll try this. Bakers, how are the viewers? Welcome to Blues and Retro Gaming. Hear that in the mic? Welcome, Implosion. Hardly knew her. Whoops. I like taking the screws out of here, out of the back plate, before you stick it on, or screw it on. Back to the test ROM. Test ROM, controller test ROM. That's still taking a lot for me to get illegal inputs, so I'm gonna go ahead and do one more round of sanding. Bold move. See if it pays off. Okay, let's try this. You know, Twinno, that would probably solve a lot of issues. Oh wait, no, never mind. You know what would solve a lot of issues is if somebody made an adapter from the NES Classic controller to the NES original connector. With no latency. Those controllers work pretty good right out of the box. Okay, I think we're good here. It might have went a little too far, but we'll see. The PCB is completely different. I did run into two NES Classic controllers last night that did not work right out of the gate with the board swap. I don't know what the actual issue was caused by, but it allowed illegal inputs on the D-pad. I know how to fix that issue, but I don't know what caused that issue. Okay, moment of truth. Did we go too far? Okay, I'm cranking on this thing and it takes a lot to get a bad input, so I think we're good. I think we're good. I'm gonna go ahead and slap these screws in it and give it a test. Yeah, I don't know if it was caused by a short post on the D-pad or what, but went through two of them. I tried different boards. None of the boards worked in them. And then I opened up a third NES Classic controller, and that one worked just fine with the same boards that did not work in the other ones. This thing looks good. Let's test it. Alright, Twinno, we'll see you over there soon. Okay, Turtles 2 solid. Turtles 1. We haven't missed a beat so far. Haven't missed a beat. Feels good. I like this one. Not gonna lie though, I like the NES Classic builds better. Might be just because I'm used to them now, but I like them better. Thumb letting go there. Almost had the 117. Still a great dam though. Alright, so this thing is a little bit not sensitive enough on the up left diagonal. I'm gonna loosen this screw here. Just gonna loosen this one a little bit too. See if that brings it back. How's it feel? It feels great. Very, very minor issue, which I think I might have just fixed with the screws. Just tweaking with the screws. How does IRG feel is the question. With your hands? PB and CV3, nice! Dude, that game looks so hard. Unforgiving. I'm glad you got it. You've been after that for a while. $30, that's a fat one. That's good at one frame taps. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the video on that one. I always enjoy seeing your PBs. You've got a lot of emotion behind your PBs. Which is good to see. Yeah, so I don't think we're going to be tweaking on any more controllers today. I think that does it for the controller building portion of the stream. I think we're going to hop over to RGL and watch the Ninja Gaiden race. But I do want to finish this run out just to make sure this controller's good. If you don't watch Sherry Berry, might not win. We need to support. Support, support. We have to will it. Well, I will it. Pretty wild in there already. We gotta get over to that party. We have to get over to that party. Oops. That just means we have to beat this game as fast as we can. Okay, controller. Maybe it was thumbs. I don't know if that was controller or thumbs. I may have to massage this D-pad a little bit more. Yeah, the up, left, and upright diagonals are not as sensitive as I'd like them to be. I didn't skip a beat. Let's go. Man, Confused Mike figured out the secret to quick drop there, and I love it. Jumped a little early there. Alright, hole 6, what do you got? What do you got for me? Clean. I think a little more sanding on this D-pad because it feels good right now where I have it, but I've got the screws pretty loose and I don't like the screws being this loose. Another light round of sanding and this thing will be really good. I mean, it's already really good, but it'll be perfect. That'll show you what kind of testing is required with these things. That's a big part of the time that goes into it. And sometimes you'll get 10-15 minutes into testing and realize something you need to change. And you need to go back to square one and test it all over again. It's a time-consuming process, but the end result is satisfying. You know that you've got a damn good controller. There's no better feeling than having confidence in your controller when you're playing games competitively. When it does exactly what your thumbs tell it to do every time. That's cool. Just realized I could do that. Nice. Easy motion, let's go. Messing around with different kill counts here to see what I can get. Good. Nice. Brass Wolf, what's up? Welcome in. So that controller's good. It needs a little bit more massaging with the D-pad, and it'll be perfect. Which I'm not going to do on stream right now because I want to watch the Ninja Gaiden tournament. Ninja Gaiden tournament. Saturday. Thanks for the GGs. Appreciate everybody hanging out during the controller building. I hope it was educational, informative, and enjoyable. I'm going to be uploading this video to YouTube so that people can learn to build these controllers themselves. And that'll be great. It's really good to be able to share what I've learned with the people, because with these NES controllers especially, we need to keep them alive because a lot of them are just turning to junk. And I'd like to imagine a world where every competitive NES player has a good controller. That'd be great. That's cool. I like that. I was just about to quit vaping too, but now look at that. You got cool effects. Alright, we're going to give RGL a raid. They're having a Ninja Gaiden tournament over there. So that's where we'll be hanging out the rest of the day. Thank you very much for hanging out, everybody, and have a great day.